I raised my hand, and the entire room went silent. Not because I was swearing an oath in some godforsaken courtroom, but because the judge's gavel was still echoing from the verdict that had just ripped my world apart. Guilty of manslaughter. 20 years in Sing Sing. All for a crime I didn't commit. And in that hand, slick with sweat and the ghost of a trigger pull I never took, I gripped the one piece of evidence that could burn it all down, the flash drive my brother had buried in our childhood backyard. The one proving he'd framed me to cover his own slaughter of that federal agent 2 blocks from our family's diner in Queens. The air in the courtroom hung thick as the summer humidity outside, the kind that sticks to your skin like regret. Reporters crammed the back rows, their notepads half forgotten, eyes locked on me like I was the villain in some twisted Lifetime movie. My public defender, a harried kid fresh out of Fordham with coffee stains on his tie, shifted uncomfortably beside me, whispering, "Jack, don't do anything stupid." But stupid was all I'd been for the last 5 years, trusting Tommy, my own blood, the golden boy who'd clawed our way out of the projects together, only to shove me under the bus when the feds came sniffing too close to his side hustle. Tommy Harlan. My little brother by 2 years. But in my head, he'd always been the kid I shielded from Dad's belt and Mom's breakdowns after the factory laid him off in '08. We built Harlan's Diner from scratch, greasy spoons and bottomless coffee for the night shift cabbies and off-duty cops in Astoria. It was our American dream, pieced together with calluses and late-night loans from shady uncles. But Tommy? He had stars in his eyes, always scheming bigger. "We're Harlan's, Jack," he'd say, clapping my shoulder after a slow shift. "We don't just survive, we own the block." I believed him. Hell, I bankrolled his investments, crypto scams and underground poker rings that kept the diner afloat when the pandemic gutted foot traffic. That flash drive? It wasn't just data, it was a tombstone. Videos of Tommy meeting that agent, FBI hotshot named Reyes, in the alley behind the diner. Tommy's voice, smooth as the bourbon he favored, cutting a deal to flip on a cartel connect for immunity. But Reyes pushed too hard, demanded names Tommy wasn't ready to give. The footage caught it all, the struggle, the knife flashing under the sodium light, Tommy's panic stab that dropped Reyes like a sack of flour, blood pooling black on the concrete. And then Tommy, wiping the blade on his jeans, turning to the camera he'd forgotten was rolling, our security feed, rigged cheap from Amazon. I found it by accident, digging up Mom's old rosebush after her funeral, the one Tommy promised to tend but never did. Buried shallow, wrapped in a Ziploc with his initials scratched on it. My first instinct? Confront him. But Tommy was already spinning his web. He'd planted evidence in my truck, Reyes' badge, smeared with my prints from a handshake at the diner's counter weeks earlier. Anonymous tip to the NYPD. And boom, Big Brother Jack, the ex-Marine with a temper, pegged as the triggerman. Collateral damage, Tommy whispered to me in the holding cell, his face a mask of brotherly sorrow through the glass. "I'll get you out, Jack. Trust me. Trust him." The words tasted like ash even then. But I did, God help me. I did, because what else was family? I lawyered down, took the plea to avoid the needle, watched Tommy inherit the diner, the house, even date Elena, my girl from high school who'd stuck by me through deployments in Fallujah. Letters from her dried up after year 1. Tommy's Facebook posts, him and Elena at Coney Island, her laughing in his arms. The knife twisted deeper than any shank in the yard. Prison was a slow bleed. Sing Sing's walls closed in like the subways at rush hour. But worse, no escape. No fresh air that didn't reek of bleach and despair. I lifted weights until my veins popped. Read every law book in the library. Plotted in whispers with lifers who'd off their own kin for less. Revenge ain't a dish. Harlan, old man Kowalski rasped over checkers one night, his face a roadmap of botched tattoos. It's the whole damn kitchen fire. He was right. I didn't want Tommy dead, not at first. I wanted him broken, stripped bare, the way he'd left me rotting while he played king of the block. Parole came after 12. Good behavior and a bleeding ulcer they mistook for remorse. Out in 23. The world had shifted. Crypto crashed. Diners shuttered. Astoria half gentrified with artisanal bullshit. Tommy's place? Harlan's was now Harlan Heights, a hipster brunch spot with avocado toast and $8 lattes. He was mayor of the Chamber of Commerce. Elena on his arm at ribbon cuttings. A kid on the way if the grainy Instapics told true. I watched from across the street, hooded in a Mets cap. The flash drive burning a hole in my pocket like a live grenade. First move, recon. I crashed at a flop in Flushing. Worked under the table hauling for a moving crew, legit enough to dodge questions, dirty enough to fund the gear. A burner phone. A tale on Tommy's routine. Mornings at the gym. Afternoons glad-handing developers. Nights with Elena in the brownstone that used to be Mom's. He looked good. Too good, fleshed out. Silver at the temples. The kind of polished that screams, I made it. But I saw the cracks. The way he scanned alleys like Reyes' ghost was still lurking. The twitch when sirens wailed. I started small. Biblical-style plagues on his house. Anonymous Yelp reviews tanking his ratings. Food poisoning from the eggs. Owner covered it up like a pro. Tires slashed outside City Hall. Time to his speeches. Mail rerouted to dead drops. IRS audits triggered by forged tips. Tommy raged online, posting rants about haters, but I saw the sweat. He hired a PI, some ex-NYPD gumshoe named Ruiz. But I was a ghost, Marine training, urban camouflage. One night, I slipped into his garage, keyed Reyes into the side of his Tesla. He reported it as vandalism, but the news clip showed his eyes darting, voice cracking on the local Fox affiliate. Elena was the wild card. I'd catch glimpses, her at the farmer's market, belly rounding out. That same wary smile from our prom night. Did she know? Tommy must have sold her the lie, I snapped. Killed the agent in a PTSD blackout. Deserved every bar of soap I dropped. Part of me wanted to hate her for buying it, for warming his bed while I froze in a 6x8. But love's a stubborn bastard. Late nights, I'd scroll her old texts on a clone sim. The ones from before. Miss you, soldier. Come home safe. Now? Baby bump pics captioned, our little miracle. Miracle. Yeah. The real play crystallized over beers with Kowalski's parole buddy. A hacker named Dex in a Hell's Kitchen walk-up. Walls papered in server guts. You want him to feel the fall, Dex said, cracking his knuckles over a laptop that hummed like a hornet's nest. Not just broke, exposed. Like Snowden on steroids. We synced the drive's footage to a dark web drip. Snippets leaked to podcasters, sniffing cartel ties. Whispers to reporters at the Post. Tommy's empire wobbled. Developers pulled out. The brunch crowd thinned. He doubled security. Elena posting less. Her eyes hollow in the mirror selfies. But Tommy was no fool. That's what made him dangerous, the cunning that mirrored mine. The flips that kept you guessing. He lawyered up, countersued the leakers, even went public with a sob story on 60 Minutes. My brother's sickness destroyed us all. But we're healing. The nation ate it up. America loves a redemption arc, especially when it's white-collar and telegenic. Polls for his council run spiked. Elena beamed beside him, hand on her swell. I watched from a dive bar.
God körning.
Was this the twist? Him turning my revenge into his rocket fuel?
No.
I doubled down. The climax brewed in the diner's back office. The one spot unchanged, peeling wallpaper from '98. Mom's cross still nailed above the desk.
Invite till closing.
Masked and gloved. Dex piping the full Reyes vid to a live feed on Tommy's own site. Masked as a community update. He burst in alone. Elena home with Braxton Hicks, or whatever. Face purple with rage. Jack, you son of a... I stepped from the shadows. No gun, just the drive. Dangling like a noose. Miss me, little bro? His eyes flicked shock. Calculation. That old Harlan grin flickering like bad neon. You're out.
Good. We can fix this.
Family, right? He lunged for a hug, but I sidestepped, slamming him against the desk. The cross rattled. Family? You buried me alive for your fix. Reyes begged.
Tommy.
On his knees. And you. He flipped then, fast as a street fight. Knife from his boot. The same one?
No.
Sleeker. Executive model. You think you're clean? Jack. Fallujah? That civvy you popped 'cause he looked at you wrong? I covered for you then. Took the heat from the CO. Lie or truth. My mind reeled, memories blurred by sand and screams. Had I? A kid with an AK. Or just shadows. Tommy's blade nicked my arm. Warm trickle. We grappled. Diner chairs splintering. The feed rolling silent on his laptop. Sirens wailed. His security. Or mine. Elena's voice cut through.
Door banging open. Tommy.
Jack. Oh God. She froze. Hand on belly. Eyes locking on the knife. The blood. The screen flickering Reyes' last gasp. The room split then. Not just us three, but the whole damn world watching via glitchy stream. Hero or monster.
Tommy or me?
Her scream shattered it. Stop. The baby. I hesitated. Tommy didn't. He twisted free. Knife arcing toward my gut. But Elena moved, lunged, really shoving him off balance. The blade caught her side. Shallow but red. She crumpled, gasping. Tommy dropped the knife. Horror cracking his mask. Elena, no. I grabbed the drive. Bolted as blue swarmed. Outside. Rain lashed Broadway. Blurring taillights. Dex's van idled. We peeled out. The city a smear of lights and lies. News exploded by dawn. Council candidate's brother in knife fight. Wife stabbed in freak accident. Twist. The feed cut before the stab. Framing Tommy as victim. Me as the psycho vet. But Elena? She lived. Miscarried though. Tommy's run tanked. But he lawyered to self-defense. Walked with a slap.
Me?
Underground. Dex's couch a throne of what-ifs. Vengeance tasted like bile. Him scarred. But rising. Her broken. Maybe hating us both. The real hook? That Fallujah doubt nod. Was Tommy right? Did I deserve the frame? America debated it on X. Cable screamfests. Harlan brothers. Heroes or hypocrites?
No winners.
Just echoes. But in the quiet, I reloaded the drive. Round 2 wasn't over. Blood calls to blood. And Harlan's don't quit. The safe house smelled like stale ramen and unwashed ambition. A third-floor walk-up in Bushwick, where the graffiti outside whispered gang tags in faded spray paint. Dex hunched over his rig, fingers flying like a pianist on meth, screens blooming with code that looked like alien hieroglyphs to me. "They're crucifying you, Jack," he muttered, not looking up. Fox is calling it the Diner Massacre 2.0. CNN's got shrinks diagnosing your roid rage from prison yard stories. I paced the peeling linoleum, arm bandaged with a dish towel that had seen better days. The cut from Tommy's knife throbbed in time with my pulse, a reminder that close calls weren't close enough. Elena's face haunted me, pale, clutching her side, that unspoken accusation in her eyes as I fled. Did she see the truth? Or just another Harlan tearing her world apart? The miscarriage hit the feeds hard. Tragic loss amid family feud. Tommy's statement. All choked sincerity. "We're devastated. But justice will prevail." The prick had the gall to launch a GoFundMe for victim support, raking in blue-check donations from Wall Street pity parties. Sleep was a joke. Nightmares looped Fallujah, dust-choked streets, the crack of M4S. A boy's face, wide-eyed, clutching a soccer ball that looked too damn real for an IED trigger.
Idefirat.
Center mass. Because Sarge barked threat, Tommy was there. My spotter. Logging it clean. Insurgent neutralized. But his words in the diner echoed. "You popped a civvy 'cause he looked at you wrong." Had he scrubbed it? Traded my black mark for his silence on cartel whispers? The doubt festered. A cancer I couldn't cut out. Dex cracked a Red Bull, foam hissing like a pissed-off cat. Plan B?
Boss.
Feds are crawling your old spots. Tommy's holed up in the brownstone. Elena in Mount Sinai under guard. His eyes gleamed. The hacker's high, chaos as foreplay. I stopped pacing, leaned on the windowsill overlooking a fire escape, slick with pigeon shit. Below, a bodega glowed neon, the American underbelly where dreams go to die. We hit his soft spots. The developers he's courting for that waterfront project. Leak the cartel ties. Tie it to Reyes. Dex grinned, teeth yellow from too many energy drinks. On it. But Jack. This gets biblical. You're the flood. No arc for bystanders. He wasn't wrong. My revenge had morphed from personal vendetta to scorched earth. Collateral, be damned. First leak dropped at midnight. Anonymized docs to ProPublica. Tracing Tommy's poker dens to Sinaloa runners. By breakfast. Headline screamed, "Mayoral hopeful linked to drug lords." Tommy's presser was a clusterfuck, sweating under Klieg lights, denying with that Oshuck's charm that fooled Mom back when he'd borrow her car for joyrides. Elena checked out 2 days later. Pale ghost in paparazzi shots. Tommy's arm possessive around her waist. My burner buzzed, an old number. Elena's. Heart slammed like a bass drop. Jack. Her voice. Whiskey rough from meds. "We need to talk." The diner. Tonight. Trap? Maybe. But the pull was magnetic. That old gravity of what-ifs and half-remembered promises. I went armed, Glock from a ghost gun kit Dex printed, tucked in my waistband like a guilty secret. The diner loomed dark on Ditmars Boulevard. Windows boarded like eyes sewn shut. Back door creaked open on oiled hinges. Inside, the air was ghosts of grease and coffee. Counters wiped sterile for the brunch flip. Elena sat at our old booth, the one scarred from knife fights over checkers. A single malt in front of her, Macallan. My vice. She looked smaller, fragility etched in the hollows under her eyes. "You did this," she said. Not accusation. Just fact.
No hello. No tears.
I slid in opposite, keeping distance, the booth's vinyl cracking like old skin. He killed a man.
Él.
Framed me for it. You knew. Her fingers traced the glass rim. Nail polish chipped. Suspected. After the trial.
Things didn't add.
But Tommy swore. Said you cracked under the pressure. Post-war shit. She met my gaze. Steel in the brown. Then the leaks. The video. God. Jack. It's everywhere. I leaned forward. Voice low. Reyes was clean. Pushing Tommy to flip on the big fish. Your husband's hands are dirtier than mine ever were. Lie by omission, Fallujah still nod. She laughed, bitter as burnt toast. Husband.
Yeah.
Papers signed last month. Before the baby.
Mitskariahong unspon.
A wound we both poked. I loved you.
Jack. Stuck letters till.
Till he said you'd moved on. Some prison romance. Tommy's flip again. Poisoning the well. The door chime tinkled, shadows shifted. Ruiz.
The PI.
Bulked in the frame. Hand in jacket. Elena's eyes flicked warning. Go, she mouthed. I bolted for the kitchen. Heart hammering. Glock out.
Ruiz pursued.
Cursing in Spanglish. The chase a slapstick through swinging doors and stacked crates. I vaulted the line. Pots clanging apocalypse. Outside. Alley reeked of dumpsters and despair. Reyes ghost spot. Ruiz cornered me against chain link.
Piece drawn.
End of the line. Harlan. But Dex's timing was gold. Fireworks from a nearby block party. Blinding pops that masked my shot.
Ruiz yerked.
Red blooming on his thigh. Dropped howling. I zip-tied him. Whispered. Tell Tommy, families forever. Fled into the night. Siren's symphony. Back at the flop. Dex patched the feed. Ruiz's takedown. Anonymized. Dropped to Copwatch blogs. Tommy's world cracked wider. Assault charges on me escalated to manhunt. Elena went dark. But a text pinged Dawn. He's lying about Fallujah. Check your records. Attached, a scanned DD. 214. My discharge, honorable.
No incidents.
Tommy's forgery? Or his truth buried deeper? The doubt flipped to fury. Tommy wasn't just cunning. He was a chameleon. Rewriting history like a bad sequel. Next leak, his emails. Fished by Dex. Showing payoffs to VA shrinks for PTSD diagnosis on me. Preemptive smear. Media frenzy peaked. Brothers' war lies exposed? Tommy countered with a tell-all interview. Tears glistening. Jack's illness made him dangerous. I protected him from himself. America split like a bad divorce. Vets groups rallied for me. Leave no man behind. While true crime pods dissected Tommy as the real monster. Elena surfaced on a quiet IG story. Black and white silhouette. Caption, truth cuts deepest. Was she turning? My Avenger's heart hoped. But the cynic knew. In Harlan blood. Loyalty's a loaded gun. I geared up for the kill shot. Waterfront gala. Tommy's Hail Mary with the developers. Black tie. But I'd go tactical. Dex's drone overhead. Feeding live to every outlet. Revenge's climax, not blood. But broadcast. Make him confess on the grand stage. Or die trying. The gala glittered on the East River. Hudson lights, winking like conspirators. I slipped in caterer's guise. Tray of flutes balanced. Glock holstered under apron. Tommy held court center room. Elena on arm, her in emerald silk that hugged curves I'd memorized, eyes scanning like she knew. Our gazes locked across the crystal. She nodded. Infinitesimal. Ally? Or bait? He took the mic, voice booming. To new beginnings. For Astoria's future, I moved. Crowd parting unwitting. Heart thundered. This was it, the flip that'd make or break us all. The chandelier dripped light like liquid gold, casting Tommy in a halo he didn't deserve. Suits and gowns swirled, air thick with Chanel and cigar smoke. The kind of room where deals get inked on napkins and morals on back burners. I weaved the perimeter. Tray steady but pulse erratic. Dex's voice crackling in my earpiece. Drones hot?
Jack.
Feeds primed, one word, and it blasts to every screen in the city. Elena detached from Tommy's side, gliding toward the bar with that effortless grace that used to unravel me after long shifts. She ordered a soda water, fingers trembling on the stem, then murmured into her clutch, "Wire?"
No.
Burner mic Dex had slipped her during a florist delivery that afternoon. Jack. Her voice ghosted my ear, intimate as a lover's breath. He's paranoid. Mentioned a backup plan for you, something about the VA files being real. My gut twisted. The DD 214 she'd sent was legit, but Tommy's smear lingered like smog. Was there a kernel of truth? Some suppressed report from the sandbox I'd blacked out? Marines don't forget kills. But trauma's a thief. I scanned the room, security in ill-fitting tuxes, eyes on exits. Tommy droned on, pitching condos that'd price out the old neighborhood. Harlan Heights rising. A beacon for all. Beacon my ass. I set the tray on a bus cart, palmed the Glock. Silencer threaded like a screw in a coffin. Time to thread the needle.
Él.
Get clear, I whispered back. She nodded, slipping toward the terrace doors, her dress whispering silk against marble. Tommy wrapped his speech, applause thundering. He stepped down, clapping backs, that shark smile flashing veneers. Our eyes met across the throng. He froze, color draining like milk through a sieve. Jack, he mouthed, hand dipping to ankle, knife habit diehard. The crowd buffered us. A human maze. I closed. Casual predator. Bumping shoulders with a developer whose cologne gagged me. Tommy bolted for the side exit, coattails flapping. He's rabbiting, Dex yelped. I pursued, dodging a waiter with crab puffs, bursting into a service hall lined with humming fridges and mop buckets. Fluorescent buzzed harsh, stripping illusions. Tommy whirled at the end, a fire extinguisher yanked free like a club. You crazy bastard. This ends now. Cops are outside. I raised the Glock, steady as a heartbeat. Confess.
Tommy.
The mix live. Reyes. The frame. The lies. Or I paint the wall with your ambition. He laughed. Manic. Extinguisher raised. Confess? Like you confessed to that Iraqi kid? Sarge covered. But I saw your finger twitch. His brains on the dune. I took the hit.
Jack.
Kept you from Leavenworth. This. He gestured wild. Karma's bitch. The hallway spun. Flash. Sand in my teeth. The boys' soccer ball rolling red. Tommy's voice over radio. Clean shot. Confirmed.
Clean?
Or cover. Doubt cracked my resolve. Glock dipping a hair. He lunged, extinguisher swinging. I fired, crack muffled, foam bursting white as he jerked back, shoulder blooming crimson. He staggered, extinguisher clanging, eyes wide with that same panic as Rhea's tape. Bro. Please. Sirens wailed distant. Closing. Dex. Feeds live. Oh shit. Gala screens are hijacking. Behind him. Chaos erupted, guests gasping at projected footage. Tommy's knife in slow-mo. My shadow fleeing the diner. Elena's voice cut in. Calm broadcast. This is Elena Harlan. The man you call monster? He's the victim. Tommy killed an agent. Framed his brother. It's all here. The room outside devolved screams. Flashes popping like gunfire. Tommy slumped against crates. Blood sheeting his Armani. You think this wins? Elena's playing you. Baby was yours.
Jack.
She lied to me. Flip again. Venomous. My world tilted. The texts. The timeline possible. Rage and hope ward. Glock trembling. Liar. But his grin. Weak. Test it.
Paternity.
You'll see. Cops breached. Shouts echoing. I zip-tied Tommy's good wrist to a pipe. Left him gurgling confessions to the ether. Fled through loading dock. Into the river fog.
Dagsvanashadu beakun.
Inside. Screens blared. Live Scandal rocks NYC elite. Tommy's empire imploded. Arrests pending. Developers fleeing like rats. Elena met us at a safe house drop. Duffel in hand. Face set like flint. Drive, she said. Sliding in back.
No imbras.
Just survival. The baby's gone.
But.
Tommy wasn't wrong. It was yours. Confirmation hit like shrapnel, DNA whisper from a clinic visit she'd hidden. Tommy's revenge? Stealing my future. Framing me to claim it. We've vanished into the night. Upstate bound. America fracturing behind. But victory soured. If Fallujah's ghost was real, was I Avenger or Echo? Debates raged. Podcasts pitting Tommy the Tycoon versus Jack the Jilted.
No héroes.
Just Harlan's howling at the moon. The road unspooled black. Elena's hand finding mine. Weary build, she murmured. But in the rear view, Tommy's eyes burned, not dead, just caged. Round 3 loomed. Upstate New York stretched like a faded postcard, rolling hills dusted with October frost, barns sagging under the weight of forgotten harvests. We holed up in a cabin off Route 28, the kind tourists rent for rustic charm, but bail when the well water tastes like iron. Decks rigged it fortress style, Faraday cage for signals. Solar panels humming discreet. A root cellar stocked with MREs and malt whiskey. Elena paced the creaky porch, bundled in my old flak jacket, staring at the tree line like answers hid in the birches. We can't run forever, Jack, she said one dawn, coffee steaming between us. Tommy's lawyered up, best at the firm. The ones who got Epstein off on technicals. I nodded, carving shavings from a stick with my K-bar, the blade's edge catching light like a promise. Prison had honed patience, but this limbo chafed, vengeance paused, not sated. The gala takedown was a win on paper, Tommy indicted for Rhea's murder. Accessory to frame. His assets frozen in a DA sweat dream. Media circus peaked, 60 Minutes redux. But this time, me the tragic anti-hero. Elena the whistleblower wife. GoFundMe's flooded for Justice for Jack, vets mailing care packages of beef jerky and Semper Fi mugs. But flips kept coming, leaked VA psych eval, buried for my discharge, hinting at impulse control issues. Tommy's parting gift. No doubt, Docs forged or fished from some black file. Dex emerged from the cabin. Laptop underarm. Face grim as a bailiff's. Bad news. Lovebirds. Tommy's out on bail, 10 mil. Posted by a silent partner. Cartel ghost. Smells like. My knife stilled. The Sinaloa threads we'd pulled frayed loose. A judge. Bought or bullied. Sprung him pending trial. Elena's hand went to her flat belly. Instinctive. He'll come. Not questions, certainty. Born of years in his shadow. Nights blurred into strategy sessions by lantern light. Maps pinned with red tacks. Tommy's bolt holes. Ruiz's hospital bed. He'd lawyered to silence. Elena's old contacts in the DA's office. She was steel now. The girl who'd baked pies for block parties transmuted by Betrayal's forge. I stayed blind too long, she confessed over canned stew. Voice edged. Thought love fixed the cracks. But Harlan's? We widen them. Her touch reignited old fires, tentative. Then fierce. The cabin walls witnessing reunions that tasted of salt and second chances. But doubt lingered. The baby.
Mean it.
Lost to Tommy's blade in that diner scuffle. Could have been, she'd whisper. Tracing my scars. Should've. Tommy's first probe came subtle, a tail on the access road. Black SUV, with jersey plates. Dex's cams caught it circling. Driver texting furiously. Amateur hour, he scoffed. But I saw the escalation. Next, burner call to the cabin line. Tommy's voice digitized but unmistakable. Family discount.
Jack.
Come home. Or Elena's next miscarriage ain't fate, it's me.
Click.
She paled. But I loaded the Glock. Checked the traps, tripwires laced with bare bells. Claymore's sand shrapnel for warning. We countered with info warfare. Dex docks Tommy's bail backer, a shell corp linked to a Cali vineyard laundering narco cash. Drop to the Times. Anonymous source. Harlan's hidden harvest. Feds swarmed. Tommy's penthouse raided on live TV. Him in cuffs again. Snarling for cameras. Media lynching, his mouthpiece howled. But the flip, a deepfake surfaced on 4chan, me in Fallujah gear. Confessing to the kid's hit. Voice modded perfection. Views exploded. X lit up with Jack the Killer. MAGA accounts tying it to woke witch hunts. America's divide deepened. Cable wars raging. MSNBC hailed my courage. Fox painted Tommy the persecuted patriot. Protests outside the courthouse. Vets in camo clashing with suits and placards. Elena watched it unfold on a smuggled tablet. Face ashen. They're turning us into symbols. Not people. I pulled her close. The cabin's chill seeping through. Symbols break, chains.
Él.
Let 'em fight. But Tommy struck personal. Midnight knock, a package on the porch.
No sender.
Inside, the soccer ball from my nightmares. Deflated. Stained brown. Note in his scrawl. Remember the play? Your call. Fallujah reel played unbidden. The boy. Ball kicking toward our Humvee. My shot barking.
Clean?
Or kid. Tommy's mindfuck. Dredging the suppressed. I torched it in the fire pit. Flames devouring rubber. But the smoke choked truth. Dex traced the drop. Ruiz. Out on his own bail. Playing errand boy. We ambushed him at a dive in Kingston. Me in the shadows. Elena the bait. Lone woman nursing a gin at the bar.
He bit.
Sidling up with beer breath. Mrs. Harlan. Your hub sends regards. She smiled cool. Spiked his drink with Dex's roofy cocktail. He slumped. We dragged him to the van, zip-tied in the back like luggage.
Interrogation in an abandoned mill.
Hudson lapping black outside.
Ruiz cracked fast.
Sweat beading under my blade's kiss. Tommy's got a meet tonight. Old diner site. Cartel cleanup crew. Wants you there. Final score. Elena's eyes flashed. He's baiting. I nodded. Adrenaline singing. Then we spring it. The diner ruins squatted under sodium halos. Windows shattered like teeth. Harlan's sign dangling crooked. We parked a click out. Approach tactical. Me and Dex flanking. Elena on overwatch with a Remington Dex borrowed from a collector site. Shadows pooled deep. Voices drifted. Spanish clipped with Queen's accent. Tommy's laugh cutting sharp. They were 5, cartel muscle in leather jackets. Tommy center. Gesturing animated. The brothers ghosted. But the sisters leverage. We flipped the narrative, him as the hitter. Me the savior.
Savior.
The word ignited. I signaled. Dex's drone hummed overhead. Spotlight blazing. Chaos erupted, gunfire stitching the night. Cartel boys scattering like roaches. Tommy Dove behind the counter, firing wild. I advanced. Glock barking, winged one thug. Dropped another. Jack, he yelled.
Peeking.
Endgame.
Bro.
That kid? You pulled. I covered. But Reyes? That was business. Business. Elena's shot cracked from the rooftop, splintering wood near his head. He bolted for the alley. Me in pursuit. The chase a echo of the gala hall. Cornered at the fence. He whirled. Hands up. Wait, the truth. Fallujah logs. Real ones. Sarge buried it for both. My friendly fire on a patrol.
Your.
Overzeal. Flip him the victim too? My finger hovered trigger. Sirens wailed. Feds. Tipped by Dex's ping. Tommy grinned. Bloodied but unbowed. We're the same.
Jack.
Monsters and mirrors. I lowered the gun. Not mercy calculation. Let the feds take him. The full tape play in court. But as cuffs clicked, his whisper, Elena's not clean. Ask about the agent.
Lie?
The doubt returned. A serpent. Back at the cabin.
Elena waited.
Rifle propped. Done. I nodded, pulling her into the warmth. But the seed planted. Round 4. Trust's revenge. Winter clamped down hard that year. Snow blanketing the Catskills like a shroud, turning the cabin into a pressure cooker of whispers and what-ifs. Dex's feeds ran hot, Tommy's arraignment a media Roman holiday. Him in orange jumpsuit, flashing that grin for the sketch artists. Innocent until proven, his lawyer preened. But the Reyes tape looped on every news cycle. Tommy's face pixelated but unmistakable. Public opinion teetered, TikTok teens memeing Harlan horror. Boomers on Facebook decrying deep state smears. Elena and I played house in the interim, chopping wood till our hands blistered, making love by the hearth with the urgency of fugitives. Her body a map I'd lost and refound. But Tommy's parting barb festered. Elena's not clean. Ask about the agent. Idle threat? Or the flip that'd gut us?
Nights.
I'd wake to her silhouette in the kitchen. Phone glow illuminating tears. What did he mean? I finally asked one blizzard last evening. Stew simmering on the propane stove. She set the ladle down. Eyes like chipped flint. Reyes. He approached me first. Before Tommy. Said he suspected your brother in money laundering. wanted my help, inside info from the diner books. My spoon clattered. You didn't tell me. Hurt edged my voice, sharp as the nor'easter howling outside. She crossed arms. Defensive. You were deployed.
And Tommy
He found out.
confronted me.
Said it'd destroy us all. Then Reyes turns up dead. And the badge in your truck. Her voice cracked. I thought you did it.
Jack.
In a blackout. Tommy swore he'd handle it, get the evidence tossed. Handle it. The words slithered cold. Had she fed Tommy the intel? Unwittingly arming his frame? Or worse, knowingly? Doubt mirrored Tommy's. A family curse. You chose him, I said.
Low.
Letter stopped. Wedding bells rang. She flinched. Fear chose. He threatened the diner. Mom's memory. But the baby? That was real. For us. Tears tracked her cheeks. I pulled her close. But the embrace felt fractured. Glass underfoot. Decks burst and then snow-dusted.
Laptop steaming.
Holy shit, Tommy's spilling in lockup. Sing Sing whispers. He's flipping on the cartel for a deal. Naming names. Including. He trailed. Eyes on Elena. A mole in the diner. Female.
Initia Zeaka.
The room iced over. She paled, backing toward the door.
Lies.
He's twisting it, but the seed sprouted. I tailed her next supply run to Kingston. Guilt or precaution. She met no one shady. Just stocked canned goods and prenatal vitamins. A ghost of hope. Still, trust eroded like the cabin's eaves under melt. Tommy's trial loomed spring. Manhattan courthouse, a coliseum. DA offered me immunity to testify. I waited from the shadows. Dex proxying emails. Be the hero, he urged. Or let him burn alone. Spring thaw brought green shoots and greenhorns, feds sniffing our trail. A tail on the cabin road. We bugged out. Relocating to a motel strip off I-87. Anonymous under fake IDs Dex minted. Elena grew distant. Scrolling news on her phone. Face unreadable. One night. She packed a go bag. I can't drag you down.
Jack.
If Tommy's painting me dirty. I blocked the door. Heart hammering. Run together. Or not at all. Her eyes searched mine.
Raw.
The agent, Reyes, kissed me once. In the office. After hours. Said it was stress relief. I pushed him off. But Tommy saw the footage. Used it. Twisted me into the temptress. Confession or cover. The flip stung. Elena's secret. Mirroring mine. I kissed her fierce. Tasting salt. We're all stained.
El.
Harlan's bleed dirty. The trial kicked off May. Sweltering under Gotham's glare. I watched remote. Dex hacking court cams. Tommy took the stand. Transformed. Repentant.
Teary.
The prodigal son. My brother suffered. But war broke him. I protected our name. Then the bomb. Elena knew about Reyes. Slept her way to silence. Gasps rippled. Jury leaned in. Evidence? A doctored log from the security drive. Timestamp fudged to show her in the alley post-stab. Wiping something, blood? Lies?
Elena shuttered.
Hurling the remote at the TV. Bastard.
We drove south.
Adrenaline fueled. To a pre-scouted safe house in Philly suburbs, row home anonymity. But the flip pursued. Her phone pinged subpoena. Material witness. Testify, I urged. Bury him. She shook head. They'll dissect me. The kiss. The doubt. I'll be the villainess. Dex dug deeper. The log was fake. Pixels screaming Photoshop. Counterleak to a podcaster ally. Boom. Tommy exposed as forger. Media whiplash. Harlan's digital deception. His deal cratered. Sentence looming life. Victory tasted sweet. But Elena withdrew, ghosting into runs that stretched longer. Climax brewed in a Jersey warehouse. Tommy's final appeal, smuggled message via Ruiz. Paroled and desperate.
Meet. No wires.
Family summit. Trap. Obvious. But Elena insisted. End it clean. For the ghosts. We went armed to teeth. Decks drone overhead. Warehouse loomed industrial. Hudson rust and rat scat. Tommy waited center. Unguarded, bait, Jack.
El.
His voice echoed hollow. The truth serum, Fallujah, was mutual. We both hit friendlies. Sarge buried for unit cohesion. Reyes? I did it for us. Cartel threatened the diner.
Elena.
She begged me to frame you. Save the baby from scandal. Her gasp echoed. Liar. But he held up a thumb drive, real.
Unedited logs.
My shot barked before thought. Grazed his leg. Him crumpling authentic. Feds swarmed our tip. Timed perfect. Tommy cuffed. Howling betrayal. In the van fleeing.
Elena wept.
Is it true? I gripped wheel. Logs burning in pocket. Half. But you're clean.
Or was she?
The debate raged inward. Trust's final twist. Philly's summer humidity wrapped the row home like a wet blanket. AC unit rattling futile against the heat that seeped through cracked plaster. The war logs sat on the coffee table. A Pandora's box of PDF ghosts, after-action reports yellowed with redaction tape. Sarge's scrawl certifying insurgent activity over grainy photos of collateral, the boy, ball, and a patrol mate Tommy'd clipped in crossfire. Mutual,
He'd said.
We'd both pulled triggers on shadows. Buried under don't ask. Don't prosecute Marine Code. Elena read them silent. Face a mask. Then slid them back. Doesn't change us, she murmured. But it did. Cracks spiderwebbing the foundation we'd rebuilt on vengeance's rubble. Tommy's warehouse bus sealed it. Life without parole. Cartel ties unraveling a dozen indictments. News hailed Harlan takedown. Mia folk hero in whispers. Elena the redeemed. But flips lingered, her begging claim. Unsubstantiated but poisonous. Spawning tabloid slurs. The femme fatale of Astoria. She stopped checking feeds. Took to gardening window boxes with basil and rage. But isolation gnawed. We're free, I'd say. Kissing her temple. But not whole. Dex bailed mid-July. Burnout hitting hard. This rabbit hole's bottomless.
Jack.
I'm out Silicon Valley calls. Real hacks, not vendettas. His hug was awkward. Laptop packed with final gifts, encrypted drives of Tommy's Empire autopsy. Enough dirt to choke a landfill. Alone. The row home echoed, nights tangled in sheets. Days job hunting under alias. Me slinging burgers at a Wawa knockoff.
Elena tutoringo online incognito.
The twist dropped Labor Day. A postcard from Sing Sing commissary stamp, Tommy's chicken scratch. Paternity test enclosed. Baby was mine. Elena's lie to bind you. Forgive or fester. Enclosed. Lab report. DNA matched to Tommy. Timestamps from her secret clinic visit. Pre-miscarriage. My world imploded. Yours, I confronted, paper crumpling in fist. She crumbled,
sobbing.
I didn't know. Tommy tampered, swapped samples.
Or God.
Jack. The doubt.
Doubt.
The Harlan plague. Had she cheated, faked, or Tommy's last mindfuck from bars? I stormed out, walking Schuylkill banks till dawn, fists bloodied on bridge rail. America moved on, new scandals, election noise, but our private war raged. She packed again, eyes pleading. Believe me. Or let go. I wavered. The avenger in me screaming trap. The lover whispering grace. Revenge's echo demanded closure. I drove north.
Solo.
To a neutral meet. Upstate diner. Ironic echo. Tommy couldn't make it, but his proxy did. Ruiz. Free on technical. Nursing a beer at the counter. He says end it. The kid was yours. Lie to hurt. But Elena? She called Reyes.
Tipped the meat that night.
Not to frame, to expose Tommy. Reyes pushed. She panicked.
Kissed to deflect.
Tommy walked in. Killed him clean. Layers peeled. Elena the unwitting catalyst. Her betrayal, a botched good deed. I paid Ruiz's tab. Drove back heavy. I'm sorry, I told her at dawn. Logs and report ashes in the sink. We're all monsters in the margins. She forgave.
Tentative.
But the scar puckered, trust a fragile graft. Fall brought routine, me promoted to shift lead. Elena's tutoring gig blooming virtual. But Tommy's shadow loomed, appeal filed. Citing coerced confession. Media stirred. Harlan's last stand? We ignored. Building walls higher. Then the call, DA's office. Elena subpoenaed again, for Tommy's trial retouch. Testify, they urged. Seal it. She did. Thanksgiving week. Courthouse packed. I watched from gallery back. Anonymous in wool. Her voice steady. Tommy framed Jack. I knew too late. The kiss? Manipulation. The baby? Jack's light and dark. Jury nodded. Tommy's face twisted. Appeal crumbling. Outside. Snow flurried first of season. She found me. Coat open to the chill. It's over. Arm in arm. We walked. But the twist whispered. In victory. What cost? Debates internal. Righteous or ruined. Happy ending? Or by karmic close. The road home shimmered white. Harlan's endured. Scarred but standing. Winter's grip loosened grudging into a Philly spring of potholes and possibility. Dogwoods blooming pink against the grit. The trial's echo faded. Tommy's appeal denied. Him shuttled to Supermax Upstate. A footnote in true crime docs streaming on Netflix. Elena and I settled into the row home like squatters claiming squat. Walls papered with takeout menus and tentative plans, her expanding the tutoring to a co-op. Me eyeing night classes at community college for something legit. Maybe paralegal to spite the system that chewed me. But vengeance's aftertaste lingered. Bitter as black coffee at 3 a.m. Dreams blended Fallujah dunes with diner alleys. Tommy's laugh overlapping the boy's scream. Elena's silhouette blurring with Reyes.
Y de vacación.
Her hand on my chest anchoring. Ghosts, she'd murmur. Practical now. Brewing tea strong as her resolve. We talk it out, therapy sans shrink. Unpacking the flips. Her tip to Reyes a spark. Tommy's frame the blaze. My shot's the ash. No one's clean, I'd say. But we're choosing different dirt. Decks checked in sporadic. Silicon Valley exile sending crypto tips and snarky memes. Don't FOMO the Harlan sequel. It's direct-to-stream trash. His absence ached. The hacker trio dissolved, leaving us duo against the void. Public faded too. Sporadic X threads debating who won the Harlan War, split 60/40ths my way. But comments festered with both scum caveats. America loves controversy. Chews it like gum, till flavorless. The real twist brewed domestic. Elena's positive test. May, 2 lines stark on the stick. Our do-over, she whispered. Joy tentative as spring thaw. Ultrasounds confirmed boy. Heartbeat galloping like my pulse in chases. We prepped cautious. Crib from IKEA. Names bandied. Not Harlan. Maybe Reyes for irony. Or neutral Jack Jr. But shadows crept. Anonymous mail. Sing Sing postmark. Tommy scrawl. Congrats? Bro. This one's mine too? Paternity's a bitch. Bluff. We knew. Dex's traces showed forged envelopes. Inmate privilege abuse. Still, it spiked the doubt. Elena's hand protective on swell. Summer swelled her. Us into normalcy's rhythm. Barbecues on the stoop with neighbors, none the wiser. Her teaching Zoom lit with kid grins. Me clerking at a law firm. Filing motions that danced around injustices like mine. But Tommy's appeal wormed back. Technicality on the deepfake evidence. Fruit of poison tree. Hearing set September. Manhattan glare again. We attended. Armored in civvies. Me in back row scanning for threats. Tommy took stand. Gaunt but gleaming. The cunning undimmed. My brother's vengeance blinded him. Elena's lies fueled it. Then the bomb. Sworn affidavit from a cartel snitch. Claiming Elena laundered through the diner prairies. Small potatoes but damning.
Júri murmured, da objected frenzy.
But seed planted, her face ashen in the stand. Cross-exam shredding. Petty cash. Not crime. Tommy's setup. Recess broke us. Outside. She retched into hydrangeas. He's winning again. I held her. Fury boiling. Night. Back in Philly. I called in Marker. Old Marine buddy in Fed witness protection. Pulling strings for the snitch's file. Turns out, Tommy's plant. Payoff traced to commissary slush. Countermotion filed. Appeal tanked final. Fall harvest brought peace. Elena's belly ripe. Kicks like Morse code promises. We drove to the shore one weekend. Jersey dunes whispering forgiveness. Boardwalk lights a carnival blur. Happy? I asked. Toes in surf. She nodded. Wind tangled. Tragic enough to appreciate it, but the final flip waited birth ward. October storm raging. Labor hit hard. Elena cursing Harlan blood through contractions. Boy emerged wailing. Red-faced. DNA test waved, eyes blue like mine. Fists clenched Avenger tiny. Tommy's last letter arrived congrats day. He's perfect. Like the brother I lost. Forgive. I burned it unopened. Ashes to wind. Debate closed. No sides. Just survival. Happy? By karmic. Us against echoes. The row home transformed overnight into a bunker of burp cloths and blue onesies. The babies cry a siren cutting Philly's autumn din. We named him Alex, neutral ground. Nod to no ghosts. Nights blurred into shifts. Elena nursing by moonlight filtering Venetian blinds. Me pacing floors with colic-rocked bundles. Humming off-key Metallica to soothe. Vengeance felt distant as Fallujah now. A scar itch under flannel. But Tommy's shadow lingered in the quiet. News clips of his Supermax isolation. Appeals exhausted. Him penning a memoir from solitary. Blood bonds. A brother's betrayal. Elena devoured galleys. Sent anonymous review. Fiction from a fabulist. Laughter returned.
Tentative.
Blooming fuller with Alex's gummy grins. We ventured out. Stroller pushes through Fairmount Park. Leaves crunching copper. Her hand in mine solid. This is the revenge, she said once. Bench sitting by the Schuylkill. Living unbroken. I squeezed. Throat tight. Unbroken? Cracks mended crooked.
But held.
Decks crashed Christmas. Silicon Valley softened by stock options. Bearing drone toys and crypto wallet for Alex's 529. Uncle Dex, he dubbed himself. Cooing over the kid while spilling valley dirt. Your story's optioned. HBO sniffing. DiCaprio for Tommy. We laughed it off. But the check arrived spring, 6 figures. Life rights, waived anonymous. We banked it cautious. Down payment on a house in the burbs. Swing set dreams. Tommy's memoir dropped summer. Bestseller on controversy alone. Excerpts painting me the unhinged vet. Elena the schemer. Him the flawed savior. Reviews split vicious. Gripping gut punch versus self-pitying sleaze. Protests flared. Vets burning copies outside Barnes and Noble. Women's groups rallying for Elena. We ignored. Picnicking in the new yard. Alex toddling grass stains. But the twist's tail flicked final. Parole board whisper. Tommy eligible in 24 rehab. Letter followed. Contrite. Let me meet my nephew. Redemption's arc. Elena burned it. But doubt flickered. Forgive the monster? Or chain him eternal? Alex's first birthday. We drove upstate. Not to sing, but a diner replica in our hearts. Apple pie shared under harvest moon. No, I told the ghosts. Our story ends here messy. Mended.
Elena smiled. Cake smeared.
America debated the book. Sides eternal. But us? We walked away. Harlan's redefining blood. The end? Yours to argue. Heroic dawn or tragic dusk. In shadows. We thrive.